Hey everybody, this is Ben from A Bit of BS. I promised you guys a shop tour video a while back, and I know it's been quite a while, but here it is. This is going to be the springboard for all of my following videos here for the next while. We'll go through each one of the stations in more detail. I'll kind of show you how I use everything, but this is where it starts with the shop tour. So we're going to start out outside at my log processing area here. You can see my trailer. I'm always using the wheelbarrow to move stuff back and forth. I'm trying to save on my back quite a bit. Old dusty fart, and when I'm lifting stuff and moving things around, it can get kind of painful. The processing area is pretty full right now. We're moving into the winter season, and I've tried to chop some stuff up to get some blanks ready to go, but I am a little bit behind back in this area here. Let's take a little closer look. So what we're looking at here is piles of black walnut. I've got some ash in here. Ick, that stuff is really hard on the chainsaw. There's some poplar in there that I use for just random things. Not a whole lot of stuff that we're turning and selling. I've got some red cedar, or it's a form of juniper back in here as well. And then a lot of birch, river birch. I love turning the river birch. It's really amazing stuff. It's got some cool looking bark on it if you can get it to hold, and there's always spalting in the river birch, so amazing stuff. Oh! So let's head inside the shop here. This is going to make all you folks feel a little bit better about the organization of your own shop. Heading up the stairs, second floor shop. Minnesota, so we got to have the bug dope out there on the log processing area. I store some sheet goods here on the landing, and then I've got a spot for my painting frock and stuff. Bandsaw here with my circle cutting templates. You can see I've done a little bit of work here. This is a huge chunk of black walnut that I've got. That's the pith and some quarter sawn stuff that I'll end up processing. I've also got a whole bin here. This is where I put all of my quarter sawn pieces. I eventually will mill those up, and we're just taking care of that stuff. We're going to use it, and I just store it right over here. I stack them all up, sticker them, paint the ends for the most part, and label them all up and stick them here so that I can use them for other things later on. I've also got some under table saw storage here. This is some more of that red cedar, juniper. Back over onto this side, this is the production board here. You don't need to look at any of that stuff. It's kind of boring, but that's necessary for me. Got a little staging area here. You got to have a chair. You got to have a chair when you're old, decrepit like me. I'm not old and decrepit, but got to have that chair to be able to sit down on and do your thinker thingy stuff. Got a little extra space for some gouges that I use here. This is my lathe. This is the big beast. It's been working really well for me. Very happy with it so far. Was never planning on going into production with it, but it's done a very, very good job. Don't look at that. My goodness, that table is a disaster. Needs a lot of work. Back over this way, big bins of chips. That's where we're storing some of the leftover chips. I've got some separator curtains up here to try to keep the chips down to a minimum. My grinding station here. We can go over this in more detail later on. I'll talk about how I grind things, and I got a couple of CBN wheels, but I got a really old grinder there. It's really kind of a neat setup, and we'll like I said, we'll look at that in more detail later on. All of my attachments and things like that for the grinder are back behind there. This is where I'm storing all of my cuts. This is the first cuts. These are all going into, so basically what I do is I rough turn the bowl and put it in with its chips into these bags, and we're just storing them everywhere that I can find in my shop. Use the weight of the bowls to measure the moisture content, and along with that I use a moisture meter as well. Look, see here, I got storage for material everywhere. There's some of that cool spalted river birch I was talking about, some massive pieces of black walnut down underneath here. I've had a hard time keeping the bark on the black walnut. I did manage to get a couple of live edge bowls out of it earlier on, but recently here I've really struggled with that. Just looking back across the shop in the other direction here, got a bunch of clamps into a bucket here with some sand in the bottom just to hold them down. And then more rough turn storage here. I've got These all labeled out with dates and locations and things like that. More logs laying on the floor over there that I'm going to be processing in the not too distant future. And then just to give you perspective, right out there is that log prep area that I was talking about earlier. So that pretty much wraps up the shop tour. The stations that I showed you here, we'll do a lot of work on those. We'll show you how I use them, the ways that I'm sharpening tools, cutting logs, things like of that nature. Appreciate you sticking with me for this long here. I'm trying to keep these videos relatively short. There are tons of people out there doing informational training type videos. I'll do a little bit of training, but I want you guys just to be able to see how I'm operating things, maybe get a chuckle at it here and there, and just see how a new person is doing production work or attempting to do production work. So take care, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.